Hey y'all, welcome to the Filling Station. It's a new day, another opportunity to either make money in this market or to just learn from the market. But first, let me give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only. If you could please like, share, comment, subscribe, y'all, because we learn and we grow together. With that being said, let's get started. We are looking at Tesla, and as you can see, Tesla closed at $349.98, and we have hit a pre-market low thus far at $332.29. So we are going down. It looks like we're down at least about $12, $13 for Tesla as of now. However, we are finding support at this 200 EMA, which is around, let's say, the 336.02. That is a support place, and it's creating what I like to say a gathering spot, right? So where are the trouble places back to the upside? We will need to get back above 336.68 or 336.68 area. Should we break that, we could possibly have trouble again around 337.53. Should we break that level, the 20 EMA as of now, 337, let's say around the 92 area, I'm going to use that as a resistance area. Should we break that, the level I have marked, 338.44, breaking at 338.44, we could possibly have trouble again around 339.71. And should we break that, 340.49, which is the ATR trailing stop, and y'all know in my opinion that's strong support or strong resistance in this case. Now, we also have the 50 EMA that we could very well use as a resistance area, and I have an area here around 340.85 that I have marked. So Tesla have a lot of resistance, I would say, around at 340.49 up to the 340.89-85 area could be a strong rejection area for us. Now, should we break that, we could possibly have trouble again, 341.60, and again 342.15, breaking that 342.76. Now, back to the downside, should we lose this area of support, which has been holding us up for, a while this morning, 336.02, should we break that level, we could very well come back to 335.46. Should we break that somewhere around 334.93, breaking that level brings us back to around the 333.77. Should we break the 333.77, we can come back to, you see the body of these candles here, around the 333.03. Should we break that level, we could possibly come back to find support around 332.58 and breaking that 331.52. Now, if we break that 331.52 area for Tesla today, we could very well come back and find support around 329.42, again at 328.35. Breaking a 328.35 brings us back to around 325.28. So if you are trading Tesla today, y'all, those are trouble places, are support and resistance areas to the upside and to the downside. Again, not financial advice, and y'all know I say so often, in this market anything is possible, nothing is guaranteed. So we are now looking at the SPY. We closed at 594.20. It looks as if we have come down again and found support at this 200 EMA around the 586.43. We have a pre-market low of 586.20. Looks like we bounced from there only to go back to the upside. So where are the trouble places? Let's start there. Resistance as of right now, let's 588.92. Should we break that level, 589.20? And if we should break that level, somewhere around the 589.52 area could be a rejection area. And again at 590.16. Should we break that 590.16, I have 590.54, which is our ATR trailing stop as of right now. Should we break that level for the SPY, we could very well find, trouble around the 590.89, and breaking that brings us back to around 591.57. And should we break that level, we could possibly have trouble somewhere around 592.21. And breaking that brings us back to the 590.262 area. Now to the downside, should we break under this level here? Let's say right now the 5 EMA is holding us up. This is one of the examples of using the moving averages as support or resistance. 587.93. Should we break that level, we can come back to 587.52. Breaking that, 587.15 or 587.20. Should we break that level, 587 586.67, and if we should break that level, 586.43. Keep in mind, I look at support and resistance on a much smaller scale because when I'm in the trade, I kind of want to know where my possible trouble places are. So if we break under, let's see, the 586.20 or 586.30 area, we could very well come back to around the 586.15, 586.08, 585.81, 585.74, 585.56, and again here at 585.39. Breaking that level brings us back to an area that I see as a gap fill that would need to be filled for the SPY. Not saying that's going to happen today. Now, should we break under, the 580, this level here, 585.39, we could very well come back to fill the gap around 585.29 down to this level here of 585. So if you're trading the SPY today, those are kind of areas to the upside and to the downside. Y'all know in this market anything is possible, so I say so often trade carefully. Once it goes against your why or your reason for getting in the trade, make sure you have the discipline to get out, or set your stop losses or whatever it is that you choose to use. So we are now looking at AMD. We closed at 117.17. It's been trading in this gathering spot only to come down. It found some support to move back to the upside. Well, we got rejected at an area that I kind of saw, level that I have marked. Y'all, I say so often, it's so important that we mark our support and resistance, right? So the AMD got rejected at this level here of, let's see, 115.20 is what I had marked. The high of this candle, 115.25, not far away, right? So where are the trouble places? Back to the upside. You see we had trouble here, so I need to get back above that 115.20 area. However, the ATR trailing stop is right here at the 115.44. Now, should we break that, we could very well, have trouble again around the 115.79. And should we break that, I would definitely watch around the 116.02 area. Again, not financial advice, but you can see something stopped us here in this area before, right here. So we definitely need to watch that around that 116 area for AMD. Should we break that, we could very well come back to around 116.39. Breaking that brings us back to around the 116.77, and from there we have the 116.85, not very far away. So if you're trading AMD, those are possible areas to the upside and to the downside. Again, not financial advice. Now back to the downside. Let's say if by chance we lose support at this spot, with a lot of these moving averages and an area that I had marked here. So I'm going to say if we break under the 114.28 area, we can very well come back to this 200 EMA, which has been holding us up for a while. That 113.95 area is a strong area of support as of now, which is not far from this area that I have marked, 113.83. So let's say if we break this 113.83, we could very well come back to 113.34. Breaking that brings us back to the 113.14 area, which is here. And if we should break that, we can come back to around the 113. So under the 113 for AMD, we could very well come back to around the 112.01, again 111.42, and let's see, under that 111.42 I have 111.03. Under that level, 110.65. So those are your support and resistance areas for AMD. Keep in mind, nothing is guaranteed. Those are just estimates, or possibly where we could possibly have trouble had it right. So let's go and see where we are with NVDA today, y'all. And we closed at 135.40. As you can see here, pre-market low 130.03. It looks like we've bounced from there, only to have trouble here around the 131.81. So that it looks like that 20 EMA is going to be a rejection area for us. Right now it's at that 131.84 area. So we need to clear that back to the upside. We could possibly have trouble 131.98, 132.29, breaking that level. We can have trouble 132.92, breaking that 133.14, breaking that level 133.47, and if we break that 133.70, breaking that 134.03, and if we should break that level 134.54, and if we break that level 134.91, could be a rejection area for NVIDIA. And now back to the downside, it seems like there's a few layers of support right here. So as of now, that 5 EMA around the 131.45 could be our support area here. That's where we are. If we break that level, we could possibly find support 131.50. 18. If we should break that, I'm going to go down to the 130.92 because there is a few layers there. So under the 130.92 area, we could very well come back to here, which is around the 130.60. That's the level we had marked here. So breaking that level, we can come back to around, let's say, the 129.96. Yeah, so if we break that 129.96 for NVIDIA, I have 129.50, and if we break that 129.01, and as you can see, there's a few layers here down to the 128.40. It looks like there's a gap that will need to be filled in this area for NVIDIA. Not saying that's going to take place today. So if you're trading NVIDIA today, y'all trade carefully. I would say mark your levels and set your alerts. And once it goes against your Y, get out. So we've looked at AMD and NVIDIA, SPY, and Tesla. Let's go to Meta today just to see where we are. We closed at 640.34 for Meta. Y'all see here it's trading in a zone. I like to see this because this would be our support area around 626.18. Resistance is around the 630.17 area. However, as of right now, for some reason, price has stopped in this area of 626.94. So where are the trouble places for Meta? As of now, we would need to get back above. Let's say if we should break through the 630.17, we could possibly have trouble at 631.89. Should we break that level, 632.33, breaking that brings us back to around the 633.80. And I'm going to mark that because I want to show you, I'm just using the bottom of the body of these candles here to kind of give me a guide as to what stopped us, what kept us, that is a support area for us here. So going back to the upside, it will be a resistance area for us, and that would be around the 633.80. So should we break that level, we could possibly have trouble again, 635.64, which is the ATR trailing stop, as you can see, and it is an area of, resistance here. So I say so often, y'all, mark your support and your resistance, right? So should we break this area for Meta today, 635.64, we could very well come back to around the 637.60, which is where our 200 EMA is as of now. Should we break that area, we could very well come back to around the 639.44, and breaking that, I would say 640.48. If we should break that level, we can come back to around the 642.50 or 642.60 area to have trouble. Let's see, around the 641.64 could also be a trouble place. As you can see here, price gathered over here for a reason, so definitely need to watch that. And around the 641, let's say the 641.50, and if we should break that, we can come back to the 642.59. Breaking that level brings us back to around the 645.83. So if you are trading Meta today, and I need to remove that, y'all. So if you're trading Meta today, those are possible areas to the upside. Now, again, to the downside, if we lose this area of support around the 626.18 area, we could very well come back to around 625.04. And if that 625 area, should we break that or lose support there, 622.08, under that level we have around the 620.74, 619.56, and if we should break that 619.56, let's see, that was here, yes, I have 617.71, under 617.71, 614.55. So if you are trading Meta today, those are possible areas of rejection or your support and your resistance. Again, not financial advice. I do know we did have a few inside day candles, and I kind of like to look at those, right? So let's say Citigroup or C is an inside day candle, and it seems like we are almost at that downside target of $74.44. So that's interesting, right? So the target to the upside was $76.18. However, it looks like we have gotten rejected only to try to come back to the downside. So if you're trading C or Citigroup, it is an inside day candle. I say trade carefully. I think Cisco, CSCO, is also an inside day candle. If by chance we break above $64.06, we have an upside target, let's say, of around $65.08. Now to the downside, if by chance we break under 62.95, downside target would have been around the 62.89 area. So if you are trading Citigroup, it looks like it is an inside day candle. So I would say Cisco. I would say trade carefully today, y'all. And y'all know it's so many ways to trade the market, and what's challenging sometimes is trying to figure out what strategy works best for you and having the discipline to execute your plan. So I say trade carefully, y'all. So Disney is also an inside day candle. If by chance we break above 113.12, we have 113.29 as the target. Now to the downside, under 111.07, downside target for Disney today is 110.03. 110.03 is the target for Disney. And QQQ is also an inside day candle, and we are well under those levels. It looks like we have already broken through the target and reached the target to the downside. So the trigger to the downside was at the 517.06. Target to the downside was 515.15, and as you can see, we've made a pre-market low of 512.09. Now, can it go back to the upside? Absolutely, right? So let's say back to the upside. If by chance we get back above 521.73, upside target for QQQ today is 521.97. So y'all, this is what I see when I look at the market. Again, there's so many different ways to trade the market, and what's challenging at times is trying to figure out what way works best for you and having the discipline to execute your plan. So I pray and hope that everyone have a very profitable, a very, very productive day today. If you could, please, again, y'all like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that, because we learn and we grow together. With that being said, until next time, be blessed as well as a blessing unto others.